Hi, Panda here. In this video we're going to talk about Nacon, a French developer slash publisher. They develop different controllers, fighting sticks and other accessories. They're more known for their controller that looks like an Xbox One controller, but it's for the PlayStation 4. Now, they've had ups and downs with their accessories. Some people say really good stuff about it, and other people say it's really cheap and falls apart, even though it's quite a very expensive controller, about the same price as the Xbox Elite controller. So that's a bit hit and miss. Now, they've had some various games over the years, but I feel like it never comes up. Everyone always seems to mix them up with Namco. Obviously, they make a totally different thing, and they're a Japanese publisher. So in this video, I want to choose some highlights from the Nacon Connect 2022 event. I thought there was some good stuff in this, but I'm going to just pick a few of my highlights and then we'll round up that. So let's check it out. The Lord of the Rings Gollum game is a 3D adventure platform game with some stealth. It looks like you travel through many of the locations of Middle Earth. There's a different story to what we've seen before. The environments look really nice. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how they play this out. Interesting to play as Gollum as well. Not really a character you would think about playing as through a Lord of the Rings game. This definitely is more inspired by the books. It doesn't seem to be going for the look, and the characters don't look like the movie versions of those characters. So like Gollum here looks a little bit different. He's kind of got like a similar sound and behavior, so I feel like they are heavily inspired by the movie as well, but without copying it. Might be for licensing issues, I'm not sure. It looks maybe like a little bit rough around the edges, but we'll have to wait and see. But it's definitely an interesting take, and it has been a little while since we've had a new Lord of the Rings game. And it's definitely an interesting take on the genre. I think an adventure for all these beautiful sights of Middle Earth, but mixed with some stealth. As long as the stealth isn't too frustrating, we could be on for a really good Lord of the Rings game here. Hell Is Us is a action melee combat game. Now, we don't know too much about this. From the other video where the developer spoke about it, he wanted a sort of modern day setting, but he wanted it to have melee combat and no guns, and he didn't want human enemies. So it was definitely quite an interesting video to watch where he explained these different categories that his game needed when he came up to design it, and that's how he came up with Hell Is Us. There seems to be like some humanoid enemies, but they're not quite human. I don't know much about those yet. And it definitely has some melee combat. I kind of just like some of the locations they showed off. It didn't show much detail. These were more like concept drawings, but it looked very cool. Kind of like present day, but sort of post-apocalyptic. And another melee action game is always good. I do like a melee combat game, but I don't know much yet on how is this going more the Dark Souls melee combat, or is it going to be more fast-paced, say like Devil May Cry? How difficult is it going to be? These are questions that we don't have answers to yet, but it's an interesting idea. So this is definitely one for melee combat fans to keep an eye on, because this might be a hidden gem. Paradise Project is an isometric zombie killing game with melee and guns, sort of like a bit like a twin stick shooter to some degree, and a bit like Diablo. What's interesting here though, in this sort of weird post-apocalyptic zombie future, scientists have discovered a way to put a device on zombies' heads to take control of them, to stop killing the humans, but you be able to use them. So this game really plays on the idea of you getting your own zombie team and being able to use those to take on other zombies. I think that's where the main comedy element comes from. You can see in the trailer like a zombie doing ironing. It's really playing up the comedy element, and I'm curious to see how much that plays into the story. It's hard to see from the combat. So far we've just seen some zombies team up with a human to take down some other zombies. But this could have potential. I'm getting like a sort of like Zombieland vibe from this intro trailer that they showed. So it could be funny. I'm not as fussed about these zombie isometric games because at one point there were far too many of them, but having control of zombies and being able to set them to do stuff could be interesting, depends on how much that comes into play. So zombie fans, here's an interesting take for you to check out. Test Drive Unlimited, the Solar Crown, is something I've been looking forward to ages. I played the original Test Drive Unlimited game. I kind of wanted to get number 2, but I just never got around to it at the time, but I loved the idea of it. So number 3, or the Solar Crown as they're calling it, is set in Hong Kong. Now what's good about the Test Drive Unlimited series so far, they usually map out the locations 1-to-1. It's not like, here's the best of. We've all played stuff like The Crew and The Crew 2, which kind of just gives you like the best of location, but streets and stuff aren't very accurate. Usually the Unlimited games have been more accurate to the locations. Hong Kong's definitely an interesting location to go for. Obviously played a little bit of Hong Kong in Sleeping Dogs, but that wasn't a racing game. So Test Drive Unlimited, for those who haven't played the series, is a racing game but with a twist. It's more like a racing game meets an MMO. Now we've seen this a little bit more over the last few years with like The Crew 2, the Forza Horizon games, where you've got more like players driving around, but Test Drive Unlimited series is what really started this idea of a car game being an MMO as well. And I feel like they're trying to emphasize here that it's more than just the racing. It's about building this collection of cars and traveling and exploring Hong Kong and the area around it. So we've got very high potential here. What concerns me a little bit is that this is the second year now I've watched a trailer for it, and they still haven't really shown any gameplay. I've not seen gameplay footage of a car driving around. There's a few cinematic views, but we've not got, hey, what does it look like? What does my car look like on the screen? What does the HUD look like? What are mission objectives? What does the map look like? They kind of just keep giving us these fancy CGI or cinematic style trailers, and it's not really giving us enough information. My concern is when this comes out, being really broken, and I'll be very disappointed if it is, but they might pull it off. Maybe they're just keen to wait a little bit longer till they show us, so we'll just have to wait and see. Steel Rising is the game I'm really looking forward to. They previously teased this last year and it got my interest. Imagine the French Revolution, but a world full of robots, and I mean lots of different types of robots. Robot that looks like a cupboard, or your main character is like a robot servant who's now going on some type of rampage against all these other mechanical enemies. The setting looks really cool, the French Revolution, but with robots, and all the robots kind of like have a weird historical look to them, even though they're robots. And I think that blend is just amazing. From this gameplay footage, it's definitely got Dark Souls type combat, but with a bit more speed. It showed a little bit of platforming sections and some grappling hook sections, so I wonder how much that'll play into it. Combat looks really good, the setting looks good. I'm really excited to see this. There's not much more to say, it's just from what I've seen, it definitely gives me that Dark Souls feel. Like I said, it's robots, French Revolution, and the robot designs are really good in this, and some of the enemies are very bizarre, but I think that's what works really well. So this is definitely on my top of list to see from Nacon. So I'll be looking forward, and I will be checking out some more of this in the future. There you go, there's just a few of my highlights from the Nacon Connect 2022 event. So overall I think they had some good games here, some weren't quite my cup of tea, and a few that I was really looking forward to didn't quite show off enough gameplay, but I'm still excited to see more. Thank you for watching, remember to like and subscribe, and thank you to our patrons and Twitch subscribers. You can find out more information on how to help support us in the description below, and we'll see you next time. Bye!